All right. What is going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another live stream from the Millennial Motivation Entrepreneur YouTube channel. First and foremost, if you're tuning in for the first time, we'd love to have you here on a regular basis. Definitely consider hitting that subscribe button below and hitting the bell icon right beside it. That way you'll be notified every time we go live or upload another video. And happy Easter to everybody, by the way. That's why we didn't go live yesterday. Usually we do our Sunday stock watch, stock talk, a weekly thing we do every Sunday. I did not do a good job of communicating that through our Discord app, I believe. I don't think I sent a message about that or anything. But my goal originally was to hopefully get home early enough in the evening and whatnot to be able to still hop on for you guys. But we didn't end up getting home till later in the evening. I had been drinking quite a bit and whatnot, so obviously was not in a good state of mind to be doing a stream or anything like that for you guys. But hopefully you guys did have a wonderful Easter day, Easter weekend. The first Easter that we were not able to go to church. It was very strange, but of course there's the online services and all that good stuff, right? But with that, before we go ahead and hop in, I just want to make sure that we are up and going. It looks like our health is all good, so we are all good to go. Awesome. So with that, I will go ahead and just hop into it. Just hop into kind of what we're looking at overall. So pull up a 20-day, 1-hour chart, which is where I always like to take a broader look at the markets just for recent movement. And you can see lately we've been still kind of within this range. What I liked, which I'll talk about more in a minute, which is why I took I wouldn't say a lot of positions, but why I took the positions I did, has to do with the fact that we recently kind of broke out of this range that we were in between roughly, and we're talking about Dow Jones here. We broke out of this range of right around 20,500 to a top of usually right around 22,500. We were kind of in this 2,000 point range on the Dow Jones. And when we take a look at the S&P 500, since that's what I know a lot of you all are trading as well, you're talking about roughly, I would say, right around 2480 through about 2625, we'll call it. We were trading kind of in that range for a while, and we broke out. Now, I was looking at more so the Dow Jones specifically, but again, they trade pretty close to one another. Not exactly, but still pretty close to one another at the end of the day. But when I saw that the Dow kind of broke out last week, up over 23,000. That signaled kind of bullishness to me. However, we did identify that double top on our RSI. So expect a little bit of a pullback. We did just that, pulled back about 2% if I remember right on, what was it, like Thursday, something like that. And then we're kind of in a new range. We're kind of stuck right around just under 23,000 to a high of about 24. A very tight range on the Dow, about 1,000 point range, which is pretty tight considering how wide of a range we've had lately. Earlier we had about a 2 to 2,500 point range on the Dow. Now we took another leg up to almost 24,000, and now we're again kind of stuck in between a little bit of a range here of about 22,000. We'll call it 500 to 24. So again, about 1,000 points to 1,500. And we can see actually the futures are pointing up a little bit. Actually, they are up a little bit more from when I looked a few minutes ago. We can see here we're kind of shooting up at the moment. But what I was really, really happy about, I was pulling up the 5-minute chart for today when I was just thinking of taking positions. And I could see that we had kind of formed, I wouldn't necessarily say a double bottom, but a pretty solid support right around 23,050 on the Dow Jones. And whenever we started to go back up, that is when I decided to go ahead and start covering profits, specifically in SDOW. I do still have, let me see. I still have one share left of SDOW. However, you can see the profit on the day for that was about $13. Again, nothing crazy. And then we did go ahead and buy some SPXL. We bought some UDOW, and then we bought some USO. Now, I'll talk about USO here in a minute, since that's primarily what we're going to be talking quite a bit about, why I'm so bullish on oil moving forward, but as well as the markets we'll hit on that really quickly. So I left one. For those of you that have been following for a little bit, you know that I had just a few shares of SDAO, like 6 or something like that, and I covered most of them. I just left one kind of as a runner, so to speak. It's still up about $2 overall on that position, which is about, I forget exactly, I want to say somewhere around like 4%, maybe roughly, somewhere around 3 to 4% if I remember right. So we're leaving that kind of as just a hedge, just a very, very, very small hedge, nothing crazy, just in case if the market were to go down throughout the week and we were stuck kind of holding you down SPXL, we'd at least have that little share of S down. We'd probably add to it a little bit if the market started gaining momentum to the downside. So just wanted to kind of keep that as a very, very, very little hedge. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much what we did today. You can see 4 orders, 4 fills. Let's see here. We can show you exactly what we did. Like I said, we sold 5 shares of SDAO at $37.95. And then a little bit later, we bought our 10 shares of SPXL at $30.56. And then a little bit later, actually about a minute or so later, we bought 4 shares of UDAO. We were already holding 1 share of UDAO, and that was to hedge our bearish position that we had last week. But then we went ahead and added to that with our profits and whatnot that we took out of SDAO. So just kind of playing it back and forth essentially. And then, of course, our larger, in terms of shares at least, we bought 50 shares of USO. So with that, we'll go ahead and hop on over to USO and just oil in general. We'll start out with just looking at oil. Get it pulled up over here. So oil is up right now about 1 point. It's been around here most of the evening, right around 1 3/4% to the upside. Pretty solid brick wall right around here, right around this $22.80 to $23 range. And why I'm pretty bullish, it's pretty self-explanatory at the end of the day. I mean, we have this just, it seems like everybody is on the same page in terms of just, we're going to see something like we haven't seen, at least in my lifetime, but at least in like the last 20 or 30 years, it sounds like, where you're going to have just all these nations, companies, all that good stuff just agreeing to this massive just oil production cut. And I think ultimately, I'm not saying that oil is going to rush back up to $50 or $60 anytime soon, though it could. I mean, look how quick it dropped to about $20. But I'm not saying by any means that I think oil is going to rush back up to $50 or $60 overnight or in the next few days or even weeks for that matter. But obviously we talk about this time and time again every single year. Obviously oil is at 3-year low, multi-year lows. But long-term oil does this every time. It drops really heavy, usually not this heavy, of course, but we see almost every year we have a pretty solid drop in oil, and then over time, usually in the spring, summer, more so summer and late summer, early fall months is when oil really starts to carry itself. You have traveling season, all that good stuff, and then you put that now, obviously, some people are like, whoa, traveling season really going to happen this year? Yes, the coronavirus is not going to last much longer. Even if it does, I think at some point, most people are going to say that to the government and say, I'm done staying at home. You just got to play the risk reward at the end of the day. I mean, people are going to get sick and tired of the government telling them to stay home. I think we'll do just fine through the end of April, but I think if this thing rolls into May, you're going to start seeing people pretty much just tell the government to go fuck themselves and stay out of our lives to a certain degree, of course. But other than that, I think overall, again, we see this happen almost every year. Not something this crazy, of course, but we see drops pretty frequently within oil, almost on a every 6 month to 1 year basis. And over time, oil just drags itself right back up. If we want to pull up a bigger time frame, let's just put let's not even do 20 years. Let's just do the last decade, and we'll just do a monthly chart. So last time we had a big drop like this was obviously back in 2014. But look, just overall down, pulls back up, down, pulls up. It kind of went sideways for a few years, but you can see every time it goes down like this over a period of 2 to 3 months, it slowly pulls itself back up just in general. Obviously, we had the big drop in 2014 through 2016 where it dropped down to about, if I remember right, $25 to $30 in 2016. And then we started pulling up. We had a little bit of a pullback, and then obviously we shot up pretty much all of 2018, in all honesty. but then we had another pullback. We came up a little bit, and then we had a little bit of this sideways trading over the last, I'd pretty much say, most of 2019. And then, of course, to start the year, boom, we've just gone massively oversold again. What happened last time we went massively oversold on the monthly chart? We were around $41 and we popped up all the way to about 65. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, it would not be unreasonable to say that oil is going to jump back to at least $30 to $35 in the coming weeks, maybe even months at the most. But I think within the next month or so, you're going to see oil right back at least around $30. You all know when it comes to like my price targets and whatnot, I'm usually pretty conservative, especially in long-term aspects, or shorter-term aspects. And I mean, God, when we just look at the 20-day chart, I mean, we were just at $33 about two or 3 weeks ago. So, I mean, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility for us to retest $30 to $35 within the coming weeks. Again, I'm not calling for it overnight, anything like that. Could it, as wild as oil's been trading lately? Yes. Do I think it's necessarily going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. I'm looking more towards probably at least a week at the bare minimum, probably 2 weeks. And now if oil decides to test $29, $30, you're talking about roughly, what would that be from where we're at right now? We're at 22.72. We'll just call it 22.77. Say we retest right around, we'll just call it 29.29. That's a 28 to 30% jump from where we're at right now. And then obviously if we go over here and look at USO, and I am in USO at 490, and it looks like it's currently around 493. So let's just say that this thing jumps up 30%. I mean, you're talking roughly, what would that be? Somewhere around $6. A little over 6 actually, about $6.30. So I mean, I bought 50 shares, and if it goes up $1.40, or let's just call it $1.50 per share, I'd be looking at roughly a $75 profit. So not bad on a 50 times 490. I'm getting my calculator pulled up here because it's quicker than doing it on the laptop for you guys. 50 times just $1.50 would be a $75 profit, of course. And if I got in at 490, phone's messing up. But you guys get what I'm saying at the end of the day. 490, I was just doing the math of 492 times 50 to see what my actual money was in there. I guess I could just go over to the monitor instead of trying to get my POS phone to work. Let's see. 50 at 491. It's not showing the total price. Let's just pull up the calculator. And of course, if you guys have any stocks or tickers, if you guys have any stocks or questions that you want me to take a look at or answer for you, feel free just to shout it out there in the chat. That's what we are here for at the end of the day. And of course, there's no fees anymore. So I mean, a $245.50 position, if I profit $75, that's not a bad profit at all. I'll take 30% in 1 to 2 weeks max, any day of the week. You guys know I'm super quick. I probably won't even get that because you guys know I'm super quick about covering my profits and losses. If oil bounces 10%, 15% in one day like it has a lot lately, then definitely I'll just go ahead and cover my profits at that point, maybe look for a new entry point. And honestly, I probably won't even cover the entire profit since this is a pretty decent sized position in terms of number of shares. I have 50 shares. Say oil randomly pops 10-15% one day, like it's well known to do. I'll probably take like half the position off. I'll just leave 25 shares running, and then we'll just kind of see what happens, and then just slowly kind of average my way either down if it moves back down, or just slowly go ahead and just keep cutting that position down if it continues to move up, of course. So yeah, I mean, that's why I'm pretty bullish on oil overall. I mean, long term, who knows? I mean, oil is obviously one of the most volatile I mean, it's such a volatile commodity. It's ridiculously volatile when you look at like gold and everything else. I mean, people think gold is volatile right now. It's like, man, they don't know what volatile is compared to oil. But long term, I mean, USO, if you want to hold this thing long term, I can't say that you're wrong or anything. This thing was over $13 less than 6 months ago. Right now, it's trading around 5, so obviously it's down huge. If you're looking longer term, say you're more of a longer term investor or long term swing trader where you plan on holding this for a few months at the minimum, I would say now is definitely a pretty decent time to get in. If you can get in under $5, that's awesome because you're probably looking longer term at a price of $7 to $10, somewhere in that range. I think it'll probably retest 9 to 10 before maybe potentially taking another leg down and maybe even retesting the lows. But at that point, I'm talking roughly another 6 to 12 months from now. So, and I'll just show you guys real quick just kind of what I'm looking at right now on my account. So again, we started with this TD Ameritrade account with $1,500 in it. We were transferring our money and whatnot from Tastyworks to TD Ameritrade. We put $1,500 in the TD Ameritrade account now about 2 weeks ago, roughly. I think we're coming up on 3 weeks soon. So in about 2 to 2.5 weeks, roughly, we've done $135 in profit so far. Get that. We'll divide that by our investment. And that means we're up roughly 9%. So I mean, say that's all I'm up after my 3 full weeks, which I think would be Thursday is when I officially had all the money in the account. If I'm only up from where I'm at right now, pretty much by the end of the week, that would be roughly 3% per week that I am doing. So that's not too bad, really. At the end of the day, I'll take 3% a week every week if the market will give it to me, because just use your compound interest calculator and compound your account by 3% every single week, not even adding anything to it on top of that, but just continuing to compound that interest 3% every single week, and you'll just see that account just start to explode over a period of a year. I always say the best target, if you're doing like day trading stocks or swing trading stocks or even longer term investing stocks, if you can manage to get like 0.5% to 1% every single week of just continuous profit and continue to compound that, I mean, you would not only beat the market, but you would be beating, I mean, a lot of these hedge funds and a lot of these people that do it every day for a living. So just keep that in the back of your head whenever you're wondering, man, I'm up 5%, should I worry about covering here? I never ever like struggle with just point. A lot of times I pull the trigger way too soon, and me personally, I'm trying to get better about timing it. But at the end of the day, if you're up 2%, 3%, 5%, like just because you're not up 10, because everybody shoots for the double digits, just because you're not up 10, 20%, like a lot of these BS YouTubers try to show you that you can do, doesn't mean you're not a good trader. If you're profiting on trades, you're already doing what 90 to 95% of them can't do to begin with. So do not ever, especially now that everybody's pretty much letting you trade for free, if you're up I don't care if you're up fucking 50 cents, covering profits at the end of the day. You got to keep it in terms, do not think in terms of dollars until you are trying to literally live off of that income. And until you have, again, like we said, at least $100,000 in your account, you're ridiculous. And honestly, it's probably much more than that. But at the minimum, $100,000 with trading and whatnot, that's just my personal opinion, because you got more capital. More capital gives you more flexibility. You're able to hop in the futures market while holding some stocks, while trading some options. Like, you want to have more options at the end of the day. Than if you just trade with like a $5, $10, even $25,000 account where you can unlimited day trade. I could go into a whole rant about that, which I already kind of have for a couple minutes, but just don't ever, I cannot stress enough, if you're up 5%, 4%, 0.25%, if you're worried at all that the market could turn against you here, just go ahead and take the profit, run, and just look for a potentially better entry point where you feel more confident about where it's going to go from here, and then go ahead and hop in. Or like I did with that SDAO position. Just take most of your profit off, keep one on in case if it continues to move that way, and just move from there. That's all I can really tell you guys at the end of the day. So, yeah, I mean, overall, not a bad. Let's see if this. Oh, I thought maybe this was gonna show like my profits or anything throughout the day, but no, it's not. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all that I have. I don't really have a lot for you guys tonight, just because, I mean, obviously it's the start of a new week. I don't have too many trades. I mean, literally that's all we have done so far. Today, like I said, all we did was close a position on SDAO. We left one running. We did buy some SPXL, getting a little bit more bullish on the market with buying the SPXL and UDAO. And then, of course, we're getting pretty bullish. We're doing a little bit of a bullish bet here on oil with USO. And again, it's just so low. I just couldn't resist. I was like, if this thing goes over $5, I mean, I'm in at $4.91. So, I mean, say it literally just went up to like $5.50. I'm up 59 cents roughly. I mean, you're not talking huge profits or anything like that, but you're talking profits are profits at the end of the day. So, yeah, that is pretty much it as for what I have for you guys. Hopefully the stream and whatnot's been doing okay. And like I said, if you guys ever have any stocks or questions, or even any questions about like futures and whatnot, always feel free to shout them out there in the chat, because that is what I'm here for at the end of the day. I can sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face, but I'm here to answer your questions and take a look at stocks for you guys. And I was trying to get my, let's see. There we go. And like I said too, the SPXL, we are up pretty decently on that right now. I was really considering going ahead and closing that position, but you guys know that I don't want to use my day trades unless if I like absolutely have to. If I feel like literally the stock or the market, in this case, since I'm betting on the S&P 500 and that leveraged ETF, unless if I felt like the market's just going to drop overnight, which I really don't. I mean, could it go down by morning? Sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of reversals overnight. We've seen a lot of reversals midday. But at the end of the day, I just didn't really feel like the market was necessarily going to fall overnight. If it does, whatever. I'll probably average into the position and then probably add a little bit to my hedge in SDAO, of course. But that position's up roughly 5 to 6% right now. So here I was just preaching about don't be hesitant to cover the profit. But when I say that, I don't mean just because you're up 5%, don't rush and go just boom, let me just go ahead and cover it. If, of course, it looks like the trend's in your favor, go ahead, hold that position, try to get what you can get out of it, and just keep in mind that, okay, if it drops here, I'm going to go ahead and cut my profit and run, that kind of thing. Because when you're up, you're playing with quote-unquote house money. So just have your limit in mind where you're like, okay, if it comes down to here, I'm going to go ahead and get out of it and look to reposition myself. Or maybe like I did with SDAO, leave one as a runner, cover most, and then leave one or two or something as a runner. That's just for you to decide as a trader, investor at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, overall, wasn't a bad day. We were up about $30. So $30. We started the day roughly at like 1,600. So that means on the day we were up about 1.8 to 1.9% on the total portfolio. And of course, I never have my entire portfolio like put into like just many different things, stocks, ETFs, anything like that. I always keep a lot of cash on hand. The closest I've been to having my entire portfolio like invested into stuff is when I had roughly $200 or $300 of cash. And at that time, my account size was still around like 15 to 16. It was like, I think at 1550, something like that. So I had roughly $1,200 to $1,225 or so invested, and I still had about $300 of cash to put to work. So when you're talking in terms of actual positions, the positions were up much larger. It's just from your total account perspective, I was up almost 2%. So, I mean, not a horrible day. I mean, wasn't the market down today? I don't even do a good job of keeping up with that anymore. Like the day to day. I thought the Dow was down, if I remember right. Dow Jones. Yeah, it was down. So the market was down 1.3, 1.4%. My account was up, what'd I say, about 1.8? Yeah, it was like 1.8%. So whatever I'm doing tends to be working decently for me at least. But that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You guys, I cannot stress enough to you guys, do not just follow like one specific YouTuber. Do not follow a specific stock market course, any of that stuff. I never sell that stuff to you guys or anything like that because I think it's bullshit. I mean, there's so much free information out here on the internet. You don't need to go buy a course or anything like that. Just watch a whole bunch of different guys on YouTube and maybe pick up on a few seminars at your local. If you're in a bigger city and metroplex, it's easier. But if you got to, I mean, even travel, maybe hit up a few seminars that are free. There's a lot of free ones out there of like stock market investing and all that stuff. And just read up at the end of the day. Do a lot of research. You do not need to invest in any courses. I cannot stress that enough. Me personally, I have not invested in any stock market course at all, and I never will. Because to me, at the end of the day, the best way to learn is put your money to work, put your money where your mouth is, essentially, and just learn. I mean, I learn more from my bad trades than I do my good ones. I mean, I'll learn from a good trade like, man, if I had held maybe a few more shares here, then I could have profited such and such more, which is what I'm starting to do now. My profitable trades, I'm starting to kind of leave a couple on the table here and there. That way I can try to squeeze more potentially out of the trade and kind of playing with house money, so to speak. That's where I'm developing on the profit side. And then on the downside, I mean, you just learn so many different things. And I always suggest you guys do paper trading, and you should do paper trading for at least roughly a month, 1 to 3 months on anything that you're going to be investing in for the first time. If it's stocks, that's 1 to 3 months. If it's futures, that's another 1 to 3 months. If it's going to be options, another. Like for every different thing you're going to be trading, you should try to paper trade it for at the minimum a month, but a maximum of about 90 days. I personally usually do it for about a month or so, like 4 to 6 weeks in most cases, and then put your money to work, because there's no better learning tool than the stress, or not even stress necessarily, but the anger, I should say, like the anger, and just when you have a loser, you realize, damn, that was stupid. What did I see here? Why did I see that? Did I let my emotions get the best of me? Did I get FOMO? Like you learn pretty quickly that this is a problem for me. This is where I need to improve as a trader. And then you can go back to the drawing board and figure it out. So you do not need a course to tell you that shit. I mean, people that sell them, whatever. There's a joke that goes around that most people that teach stock market lessons and whatnot make more money from the courses and whatnot than they do from their actual stock trading. Don't know if that's true, but I thought it was pretty funny. I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, though. So yeah, that's pretty much my advice for you guys for the night. And I guess if you guys don't have any questions or ticker symbols or anything, then I will just go ahead and wrap the stream up. Like I said, I mean, we're just going long oil just because history shows us time and time again, every time oil tends to have these pretty big drops. I mean, obviously this is something like we haven't seen in 20, 30 years. At least that's what they say. Obviously back in 2014 through 2016, we had just a massive, drop within oil. Getting the monthly chart pulled up from the last decade for anyone that's tuning in again recently. So the last 10 years, of course, back in 2014 through early 16, we had that massive drop. But every time oil has these big drops, it's usually followed by a decent 2 to 3 month rally at the minimum, and then we usually stagger out for a little bit. Then we have a drop again, up, drop, up, drop, up, drop. Again, kind of staggered for a little bit, and then up, then drop, up, staggered again, and then drop. So what would you expect? Again, we've had our drop. Would not be surprised one bit to see up. I do think at the top side, we're probably looking at $40, honestly. I don't see oil going back to $70 to $100. I don't want to say ever again, because obviously anything can happen, but I feel very strongly that the highest oil is ever going to go again is $60, at least in the next near future, like the next few years. I just don't see oil really. I mean, it's going to take a lot for oil to come back. And I mean, you got OPEC, and they're trying. They're doing the most that like what we've ever seen, at least I've ever seen in my lifetime. But man, I mean, it's going to take a lot. $19.27. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But like I said, guys, I mean, I think short term you're talking about roughly $35 to $40 oil, 30 to 35 on the minimum, but somewhere in between that $30 to $40 price range. So, I mean, if you're talking from the low, say it goes up to 38, you're talking about oil doubling within the next month or so. But if you're talking about from where we're at right now, you're still talking about at the minimum a 20 to 40% increase on the price of oil. So that's why I decided to go ahead and hop in USO. It's so cheap. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, even if you guys don't have much money in your account, I know a lot of you guys only have like $500, $1,000 or less. Most of you all that are starting out, I started out there too. I mean, even my account is not big. It's $1,600. Nothing crazy, right? But say you have a $500 account. Just buy, if you want to buy USO, or not even USO, there's so many other oil ETFs and whatnot. I kind of like USO personally, United States Oil Fund and whatnot, but and it's just so cheap. I mean, you could also do, what is the one I used to do? I can't think of the name of them now. I mean, obviously you have like XOP, Gush, and Drip, but those are oil, gas, and exploration. It's not just oil. But there's another one too, and I just cannot think of the names of them. They're two inverse ETFs, DWT and UWT. Those are other ones. I do not like them as much. However, those are other options. I just don't like them as much. I liked them about a year or two ago. Anymore, though, I do not really like them. USO, though, I like. It's right around $5. I mean, say you have a $500 account. Buy like 5 or 10 shares. I mean, you're talking about using 5 to 10% of your account at the most, which for something this speculative, you don't really want to put more than that in your account anyways. Like my position, it's roughly $240 to $250 position. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going against my own advice here, but it's kind of a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing, I guess. Based on where I'm at right now, it's a little bit over 15%, but I just wanted an easy number, 50 shares, and I think I'm actually at like 244 as my cost basis. So I'm at 14 to 15%. So I mean, I'm slightly over, but I mean, as long as you stay around that 5 to 15% of your total portfolio, it's not going to be a huge hit to you. But like, say you bought 10 shares here at $5, say it goes up $2 in the next even month or two. I mean, $2 times 10 on your little portfolio. I mean, that's $20. I mean, a $20 profit on your $500 portfolio. I mean, that's not too bad. You're talking about a 4% return. And that's on your total account. So you made a 4% return while only risking about 5 to 15% of your account. So not a bad risk reward potential there. So just might be something you guys want to look at. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to do the stream because I wanted to do the Sunday Stock Watch yesterday, but we did not have the chance because of Easter and whatnot. And again, hopefully you guys did have an awesome Easter weekend. I know if you're like me, you were probably like, God, this sucks. I thought we were going to be able to like go to church and whatnot, but this bullshit virus keeps on lingering on. So with that, I will just go ahead and hop off of here. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the stream. If you did, definitely make sure to smash the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate that. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, we'd love to have you here. Definitely consider hitting the subscribe button below and hitting the bell icon right beside it. That way you'll be notified every time we go live or upload another video. And then, of course, we have our Discord group chat that's down in the description box. And we now have almost 160 of you in there. So it's awesome to see that continue to grow day by day and week by week. Thanks to you guys. And we are coming up on 1,000 subscribers. Last I checked, we were around like 940, roughly like 939, 940. So we're coming up on 1,000. So we definitely love to have you here and be part of that. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support and just our awesome community we continue to grow over here. It's just awesome to continue to grow with you guys and watch you guys grow as traders. and investors, people in their stupid ass cars, I tell you. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a good week. I plan on doing another, it'll be a stream, but it'll be more of like a video, kind of like a teaching video for people that are newer. I don't know exactly what yet, but it's going to be kind of a tutorial. Hopefully I will have the details for that for you guys here in the next day or so. And I plan on doing that no later than Thursday or Friday. And then of course we'll have our Sunday stock talk again on Sunday. But until next time, guys, keep on going out there, make your profits, covering your profits, and achieving your financial freedom this year. And I'll see you guys, like I said, in that next video here in a few days. But until then, take it easy, guys.